שמש דקה ומרפא בכנפיה.
Who is this girl from the east bank of the Jordan River who gave her name to this book, to this biblical book? That is actually one of the threads that runs through the whole of this book. Who is this lady who later on became the great-grandmother of King David and then the ancestor of Messiah? I wanted to pick up this question and throughout the whole study of the scroll of Ruth, take it with you and ask that question: what did this girl contribute in terms of character to the kingly lineage of the house of David? Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go to the field and glean among the ears of grain, with him in whose sight I shall find favor." So Naomi answered her, "Go, my daughter." The key word in this second chapter of the book of Ruth is to glean, to collect what is left over. If you sit at home, not just today, but moreover, and study the book of Ruth, I'd like to challenge you. What was the keyword of chapter 1? What are the keywords of chapter 3 and 4? There are always words that appear more often and are unique, also in terms of content, to these chapters. Actually, in chapter 1, it's to turn around, to go back, to return home. So here in chapter 2, it's to glean, to take what is left over. The word that is used for the servants that harvest the field is a different word in Hebrew. But why does Ruth need to find someone's favor? Why later on does she need to ask for permission to glean or to take? It was her right. In the Torah, it's several times said, when you reap your harvest in your field and forget a sheaf in the field, you shall not go back to get it. It shall be for the migrant, for the fatherless, and for the widow, that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. Or when you beat your olive tree, you shall not go over them again. It shall be for the sojourner, for the fatherless, and the widow. Or when you gather the grapes of your vineyard, you shall not strip it afterwards. It shall be for the migrant, the orphan, and the widow. You shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt. Therefore I command you to do this. Have in mind that it was at the time of Passover. People had this image of leaving the land of Egypt and the command to remember the exodus from Egypt at hand. It is very important in the book of Ruth, and we'll get over this and stumble over it again, that the regulations, the commandments are very important in this book scroll, and Ruth knew them and heeded them. So why did she ask whether she could glean after the workers? We have a rabbi in the Middle Ages who looks at this image of this Moabite woman and her mother-in-law and says that the whole city knew about her, and she took upon herself, did not leave it to her mother-in-law, took upon herself to be humiliated and to look after the food, to be known as a poor woman. So she fed her mother-in-law with honor. It was Ruth who took the initiative, and she does not expect from Naomi to accompany her, but relieves Naomi of the humiliation that is connected with being obviously a pure, destitute, who has no father, no brother, no husband to look after her. Actually, if we consider that it was the time of the judges, the time when the judges were judged, it was a quite lawless time in Israel, and such women were considered fair game, and moreover, if she was a foreigner, a Moabite even. The danger that Ruth took upon herself and the risk was indeed great. So, if we face such a society that was degenerated and sexually immoral, why was it that Naomi did not go with Ruth? It would have been much less dangerous. Or why did Naomi not say, listen, I go, I'm an old woman or an elderly woman, and for me the danger to go out and to glean is not really great. If Boaz would not have taken over the patronage later on, if he would not have specifically, and he told his own servants there, to look after Ruth and not to touch her, not to do anything evil to her, the risk that Naomi took upon herself was quite considerate. It also sheds a light on Naomi's situation and state of mind, on her, how shall I say, how she felt. She was so governed, so determined by her resignation and self-pity that she didn't think about her daughter-in-law, not about herself. And it's Ruth's character that kind of stands out, her diligence, and that she had nothing what could be called self-pity because of the hard work, that really stands out in this book.